What is going on, guys? Jack here, and well, you've read the title, you know what this video is. Someone has managed to create a Football Manager database for FM19 that is basically the year 2003-2004. Now, I never thought I'd see this done. This was created by the mad scientist FM. There'll be a link in the description to download this, as well as a link to his Twitter. And yeah, honestly, this is absolutely incredible. Now, it's still a work in progress. I think there's still work being done on it, but this madman has literally gone from Championship Manager 04 and copied over manually players' profiles. I believe for months it's taken him. And as a result, we have a database that fully functions with a lot of players and a decent amount of playable leagues, might add, as well, completely set in the year 2003 at the start date. Now, unfortunately, due to the limitations of Football Manager, the start date can't be changed. However, he has added a significant number of players, and with the correct setup, you can get it so only the added players are in here. I mean, just look at this Real Madrid team. You've got Figo, you've got Raul, and the thing I love about this is literally as it is in Championship Manager 04. You know, there's no fudging around, there's no matter of opinion. This guy has literally copied it over. And that in itself is just serious dedication. I can't give this guy enough props. I didn't think I'd ever see anyone even attempt this. But it's been done so well. I mean, you can see Zidane here. Now, the other thing that I like is that face packs for staff members and stuff have kind of updated. So, for example, David Beckham has a face in my face pack graphics pack that I use. There is additionally an official face pack for this whole pack that you can download. I think the Mad Scientist has it over on his Twitter, which, as I said, is linked below. And it kind of has a Panini sticker style to it all. So if you want the pictures of the players as they were back in 2003, you can do that. I believe the Premier League is done right now. And it is just a crazy piece of work. Now, in terms of the leagues that have been done as of the time of recording this, the Danish top division's been done, the Premier League and the English first division have been done, Ligue 1 and Ligue 2 has been done, I believe, the Bundesliga, Serie, the Scottish Premier and the Spanish Premier. So yes, a decent amount of leagues, as I said, and they are all done properly, might I add. So you have the past winners up to 2002, 2003. The way that this has been done is pretty smart, to be honest. One thing that's worth noting, obviously, is the way that Football Manager handles databases and such has changed between Championship Manager 03, or rather 04, and Football Manager 2019. So the players generally are a lot better on this database. There's a lot more kind of world-class Football Manager players. But in a lot of ways, that really adds to the fun of it all. And as I said, obviously, this is the year of the Arsenal Invincibles. And these players have been created accurately and as they were. I mean, I can just flick through. Some of these names you're going to recognise. Martin Keown, Lauren, Jens Lehmann, of course, in goal for that Invincibles side. And to be honest, I don't even know where to begin with this in terms of just showing you stuff, because there's just so much to it. You've got the English First Division, you've got Wimbledon still in existence, not AFC Wimbledon, the actual Wimbledon. They exist, they're here, they're going through that turbulent time. You can take over them, you can manage them, and with the power of Nigel Reo-Coker, might I add, age 19, maybe save them from the fate that obviously bestowed them in real life. It actually makes me, this might sound a bit weird, it makes me a little emotional seeing all of this, because this is part of my childhood. Like, Championship Manager 04 was the first one I really got into. I was 11 years old at the time, and this is just an era of football that I knew stupid amounts about without necessarily needing to. Obviously, you got players like Nedved playing Juventus, Del Piero. All these players have their history done as well, correctly. Obviously, there is a jump in the period of time. Due to a limitation with Football Manager, you can't change the start date. That does have a little bit of an unfortunate knock-on effect when it comes to World Cups, because it means the first World Cup takes place 4 years into the save game. Obviously, in real life, the World Cup would have happened 2 years or 3 years after the start date. So there's little things like that, which, I mean, there's not a lot you can do about it. But in terms of within the restrictions that the game has, I mean, you can't really knock it in any way. Now, of course, one other thing is the fact that because this is the Football Manager 2004 kind of stats and stuff copied over, but the game obviously is balanced around modern football, the players' wages and the transfer fees requested obviously more in line with current day football, but because all the data is from old football, there is some kind of semi-weird stuff that happens with players' wage expectations and transfer amounts that players are kind of commanding. I want to make you aware of that. I don't want that to be some nasty surprise. I feel like that's almost to be expected with something like this. But I mean, you can just flick through the leagues here. So we can have a look at the Serie A, best team. You've got players like Buffon, Maldini in the twilight years of his career, playing for Milan. Obviously, Nesta alongside him. Totti, a 26-year-old Francesco Totti. I mean, and the other interesting thing about this is you can take these players and, well, you could take the invincible Arsenal team and go, you know what, we're going to gegenpress like it's 2019. And that's just really cool to me. And the fact that, as I said, this has been done just so well. I think if we go to game status here, we can see the amount of changes that have been made. There has been 1.9 million changes done to the database. Just stop, think about that for a second. This guy, the mad scientist, he does have a Patreon page. I'm not being paid to say this, but if you do use this database and you do enjoy it, I encourage you to go over and just show him some support. It could be a one-off thing or whatever, because this is just mental. And as I said, it makes me unbelievably happy to see. I really hope that this can continue to be built upon. Maybe you can add more and more leagues. And then, well, going forward, the beauty of stuff like this is, once you've done it for one Football Manager, it's not too difficult, relatively speaking, to move it over to future versions. So if this was done really, really well, it could theoretically, as far as my understanding goes, be used for every future FM. So this could just be built upon and built upon and built upon, and that's actually what I'd like to see done here. But it's crazy. Obviously, there's players like Cristiano Ronaldo who has just moved to Manchester United. So he's 18 years old, but the thing is, his potential is what it was in TM04. So in this save game, he isn't going to be the world beater, at least that's my understanding. He is the Ronaldo that people thought he was going to be in 2004. People didn't realise how good he was going to be. Of course, on the flip side, of course, this start date is immediately after Wayne Rooney's just had his breakthrough season, age 17. So he is incredible. He's one of the best players in the world. You've got an Ibrahimovic, who I believe is still going to be at Ajax. And my understanding is that even though, for example, the Dutch First Division isn't playable, teams like Ajax still have a lot of their players added in. Yeah, you can see here we've got Schneider, Maxwell, Jari Litmanen still playing, Van der Vaart, age 20, Heitinger. Just names that they just make me nostalgic thinking about them as a Football Manager player. I'm sure if we were to go through some of the national teams, you could probably see some players. I know there's a few issues before the first kind of national team selection, but yeah, Gudjonsson, Haridason. I mean, these are just names of a classic Premier League era that I remember so well. Tal Benaim. I mean, look at that Italy team. That is just a silly team, isn't it? Just all over. Of course, you can download this for yourself. There's no reason not to. There's also a save game that I think's been created. So if you just want to load that up and have a look, you can just download that as well. I think that's on the Mad Scientist Twitter page. But yeah, this just makes me really happy. Maybe that's weird. Please let me know in the comments. I can't get over how well done it is done as well. I mean, if we just look at the world page again, obviously, world's best players. We've got Oliver Kahn here. Raul. Raul was mental in this year's FM. I mean, look how good he was. And it's just, I love the fact that all the proper history exists. Of course, a lot of this history exists within Football Manager, but a lot of it has been added back in. Obviously, Vieira captaining the Invincibles, just one of the best centre mids in the world. I mean, I'm really tempted to take this database and just holiday forward with it and see what happens over a couple of years to see how similarly it replicates real life, and also, how these players get on in kind of a modern footballing world. Of course, it has its limitations because it's in Football Manager 2019. But I think the level of work that's been put into this is undeniable. And a lot of the time with these kind of projects, I look at them and I go, I love them, but I do that differently. There's an issue with it. Maybe it's the fact that the player's potential's been changed around. Maybe, the author's taken a bit of creative license. But with this, genuinely, I don't think there's one little bit of change other than just continuing to add players. But my understanding is that there is going to be, at least in the close future, just more and more added to this. And this database has been getting a lot of attention from people. You may have already seen it. And yeah, I can't wait to see what could become of it beyond this, because the base work here is just staggering, frankly. It's just crazy. Of course, you've got teams like Deportivo La Coruña, who were still a big household name. Of course, the Spanish League was one of the biggest. Is Tevez going to be a Boca? Is Carlos Tevez? He was so good in this year's Championship Manager. And here he is in FM. Oh, I don't know where to end this video. It's just beautiful. Like, genuinely, download it, have a look at it. If you're around my age, and I know a lot of you are because I can see my demographics and, you know, stats on YouTube, just take a look and take a trip down memory lane. Even if you don't do a save game on this, just enjoy it for what it is. You know, you've got... I mean, we've not even looked at Barcelona. I want to see... I think Messi is in this. Is he? He is. Is he any good? 16 years old. I mean, he looks pretty good, to be fair to him. 1 strength, 1 jumping reach. I guess... was Ronaldinho still at Barca at this point? I think he would have been. I realise we're on Barcelona B here. Was that Iniesta I spied? It was. How good... Questionable physicals, Iniesta, I'm afraid. If we just look, I assume that Ronaldinho is going to be... There's just players popping into my head. Ronaldinho, Adriano, Riquelme. I can't describe the feeling that I'm feeling just going through this. It's just a feeling of nostalgia and happiness. Like, this was the year, you know, where I had Panini stickers. I was trying to complete Premier League teams. Not match attacks like the kids have these days. You remember FIFA 04 with the intro? I mean, for those of you who have been on the channel a while, you'll know that the intro song when I first started my videos was Jerk It Out by the Cesars. That was one of the songs on FIFA 04, which is this year. This was like when I proper got into football. And yeah, the fact that this exists just genuinely is just the coolest thing ever as far as I'm concerned. And that might sound like the nerdiest thing ever. I don't really care. I mean, look how good Puyol is. You literally don't get defenders this good in Football Manager anymore, but here he is. What a player. I mean, I want to just... Adriano. I know some PES players are going to have fond memories of him. I mean, look how good he even is at this point. This is before he's kind of broken out and got on the cover of PES 6. I mean, the Brazil national team, how nutty is it? Of course, this is just after a World Cup, so you've got Roberto Carlos still playing away. Aged 30, Cafu, Rivaldo, I guess yeah, he is at Milan here, 31 years old, so he just about scrapes into this database based off age. It's just really cool. And there's even a 37-year-old Romario still playing. Wow, that's pretty neat. Right, guys, I could just go on all night clicking through players, but I need to cut this off somewhere. Check out this database. Let me know what you make of it down in the comments. I'm sure the mad scientist will probably check the description of this, so if you check out this database, you notice any issues, big players that should be in the database but aren't, I'm sure he would love to continue to add on this and continue to build on this, and any feedback, of course, you guys have, I'm sure he'd appreciate it, and obviously it just helps it get better for everyone. But anyway, that's my trip down memory lane done. I realise that this video has just kind of contained me groaning for about 10 minutes straight, but it's just what nostalgia and football of this era does to me. And I'm sure some of you guys are probably feeling similar emotions just seeing me go through it and obviously going through it yourself. Anyway, I'm going to wrap things up here. Leave a like on this video if you've enjoyed this trip down memory lane. If you have any comments with regards to the database, as I said, I'd love to hear them down below. I mean, who's your favourite player from this era? If you've got to the end, who is your favourite player from this era? I'm going to be a bit weird here as a Liverpool fan. Thierry Henry was one of my favourite players because I used to wear the number 14 shirt and play on the left wing. So I was mini Henry as far as I was concerned. Obviously, Steven Gerrard was just breaking into the Liverpool team. I think from a continental perspective, Del Piero had a soft spot in my heart. But yeah, let me know who your kind of idol of this era was. I'd be really interested to see if there's much overlap or if people just have different players they remember from the 2003-04 season. Right, that's all from me. Thank you for watching, guys. Obviously, if you want to see more of this database, let me know. There may well be a network game starting with me and Dr. Benji playing with this. So I just want to hint that here. And, well, I've rambled for long enough. Guys, I will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.